right, it is 5:30 on August 13th. We will call the Park Rec and Forestry Committee meeting to order. That being said, can I get an approval of the minutes from the June 11th?
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Any conversation on that?
I have a question. I think we have to approve the meeting before, too.
Because this is June 11th, this isn't the July one. that was posted.
Right, but the meeting before, we didn't have quorum, so we
Right.
couldn't make an action on approving
Right, the.
So-
The June, I think you're referring to the July meeting?
Yeah.
The following, not the one before, not the main meeting,
Yeah,
the following
right.
meeting.
Yeah.
Should not have been brought to quorum or even opened up for discussion. That's
Right,
what our
we
legal counsel-
skipped it.
Yeah, so there's no meeting that was actually held to be
Oh,
approved.
so we don't have to approve those minutes?
So there was no minutes
There's
because
no-
there was no meeting.
Oh.
That's what I was told.
Yeah.
I mean, from the meeting before, we couldn't approve,
Well, the July meeting was to approve the June minutes.
Yeah, so now we're approving.
we skipped a month?
We're not approving July's minutes because,
Because this is what should have been approved.
This is the one from the month before?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I'm
This is
sorry.
June.
Yes.
Thank you.
this is the June
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I got
this is
you.
June 11th.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a first, we got a second, we had discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Moving on. Okay, does anybody have a conflict of interest with anything on the agenda to report? Hearing none, we'll move on to public comment. I believe you guys are on the agenda. Is that correct? So there's no other topics. We will move on to item number 5, the Hackman Field improvements and donation. I believe Nick.
Yeah, Mike. They weren't in the packet, unfortunately. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to come in front of you and talk a little bit about Hackman Field. My name is Nicholas Kump.
Mike Shaddy.
We are representatives from the Legion Board. So if you know, in town, obviously, there's the Legion, and then there's also the Legion Baseball Program, and we're a part of the Legion Baseball Program. The Legion Baseball Program, just to give you a sense, is it's for high school, generally high school or freshmen in college. So basically 12, 13, 14, up to 19U is the age range that young men might participate in it. And basically giving them an opportunity to play baseball, but also get together and collaborate and build character through the summer. They generally play between 30 to 40 games during the summer, so it's quite intense over about a 6-week period. The Legion program in Marshfield has actually been around for 50 years. We're celebrating our 50th year this year, so it's definitely it's come through a long history. During the summer, we use the Hackman Field generally for most of the games. We use the high school field once in a while if we get rain out or other situations, but we use the Hackman Field for all of our games. And we have both the junior team and the senior team, so there's 2 teams that are using the field. As you know, Hackman Field has been around for quite some time, and some of the equipment is dated. Unfortunately, sitting at games and seeing the scoreboard start blinking or even having troubles lighting it up. As we look forward to next year, Legion across the state, there's over 100 different teams, and they have a state Legion, which brings together the 8 top teams. And we're lucky enough to be actually hosting that next summer. So in preparation of that, along with some of the challenges we've had with the equipment, what we'd like to do is move forward with making improvements to the field. Obviously, the scoreboard is one of the main items that we want to look at addressing. As you can imagine, pitch count is a very heavily tracked item as it comes into high school or youth sports. We want to make sure that the arms for baseball players are they can only throw so many pitches before they have to have so many days of rest. So there's a lot of tracking to that. In the current facility, the current scoreboard doesn't show that or have that on it. So one of the improvements we're looking to do is revitalizing the scoreboard. I provide you a rendering. It's basically the same or very similar layout to what it is today, except that there's only one sponsor on it. And what we're looking at is putting in a new scoreboard that would give us the opportunity to actually have up to 8 sponsors. As you can see, it's 28 feet wide, and you could break that into 7 feet by 2-foot chunks, and you could have 8 of those. Obviously, the print on that gets pretty small. So I think ideally, we're probably looking at either 1 or 2 or maybe 3 sponsors to really highlight that. And I think one of the things that's ideal about that scoreboard is normally you go to a football field, if you will, you see the sponsors when you're in the football field. But as you know, when you drive on South Elk, you can see the Marshall Clinic sponsorship that's up there. It's very prominent. So I think there's a lot of value for someone that's interested in becoming a sponsor and help us with obviously improvements to the field. The other areas that we're looking at making some upgrades to is the dugout. Unfortunately, with the amount of equipment and the number of kids that are in the fields, those areas are just really hard. And there's only one entrance onto the field itself. So we're looking at moving the fence out slightly so that we provide two entrances or exits to the field for the players while still maintaining that fence from a safety perspective. Other areas, the sound system, that at times with the wireless mics and stuff can be a little tricky to operate, so trying to make that a little bit more modern. As you can imagine, the kids really like to have their walk-on music and music in between the innings and stuff like that, so we try to get some new things there as well. You can see the estimate that Justin's kind of put together. We're trying to raise $50,000 or even more. Another area that we get challenged with is rain, obviously, and maybe looking at some tarping or something like that is maybe something as an additional improvement, especially as we look to host the state. You get that pop-up storm, and then you sit there for hours trying to get it dried out and get the field back in some position. Whereas if we had a tarp, that could cover it, maybe we could roll that out quick and save some time, and maybe that's another sponsorship opportunity as well. I don't know if I missed anything.
No, I don't think so. I mean, just ideally for us, with state coming in, we want to put on a good showing because that potentially opens the opportunity to future state tournaments here, junior regional state tournaments here, different things like that, where we're bringing more folks to the community. Hackman is a great facility. We go all over and play. And Hackman is a great facility. It's just gotten a little bit outdated. So we are looking to make these improvements as we kind of try to leave our legacy as we go through collegiate baseball as a board. So.
Yeah, the state program is 8 teams, 18 players on the team, plus coaches, families. So I mean, it brings in a number of. The tournament this last year was this last couple weeks ago was in Stevens Point. Had teams from the Fox Valley area, the Madison area that came up and participated. So obviously they're coming in doing hotels, restaurants, and everything as well. So there's a lot of economic churn with the program. So tonight we're just asking for your basically approval to move forward with some of these improvements. I think obviously the next big hurdle for us is to go out and start doing the fundraising, see if there's interest and if we can get the dollars to help support the improvements that we're looking to do. And then obviously if we do get the funds, we'll come back to Justin and Ben. And I should say that Ben has been a part of the process with going out and meeting with the vendors for the scoreboards so we can make sure that we're coordinated throughout this whole process.
I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and approve the proposal to move forward with the changes and to begin the fundraising.
I second.
Okay, great. Any conversation or questions on it?
Yeah, I got a couple things. So I love the pitch count and the pitch speed on here. I think that's awesome. I have a question. Will you, is this just kind of a rendering and where it says guest and home, you'll be able to still put in the team names on there? That's good. Yeah. So this really is just kind of a rendering that doesn't really, okay, that's good. And the other thing I would say, and the other thing I have a question on is, what about the chaparrals? Will they be helping along with this as well? I'm not sure what that arrangement is.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, there's obviously the high school teams, both the public and private schools.
Yep.
Joe Kanichke with Columbus is on our board as well, so we have engagement there. And obviously, Mike and I both have sons that are on the high school team, so we have engagement there. The Shaps is, we've had conversations, but at the end of the day, they all run on very slim budgets. So ultimately, they're supportive of us trying to take this forward and make improvements.
I think we live in a really generous community. I think we've seen that with some of the past projects and donations. Greasy Park's probably the most recent example of that. I don't know if I would sell the scoreboard short like 30 to 35,000. Right? I think you may depending on what you raise, make this even better.
Yeah, I would say our target is actually closer to a six-figure number.
Yep.
But we have to go through the process and see what we do.
Okay. Thanks.
Great.
If you got closer to a six-figure number, you're looking, so maybe just upgrading some of the features of the scoreboard, but as well as maybe tarps?
Yeah, so the biggest thing for me, and Ben heard a lot of this, and so did Justin for me this year, we lost 5 home dates, which are huge fundraisers for us because of rain. And it's just because when rain hits, we have to make a decision before teams travel all the way here.
Yeah.
we've never had a full tarp. There's a dugout, or excuse me, a home plate tarp and a mound tarp. We were in the middle of the game with Eau Claire this year, and rain came in, and the umps kept our players out on the field for about 10 minutes too long, and the game became unplayable. So they drove all the way over. It was actually the day the mayor sang the national anthem, and we lost the rest of the game because of just a pop-up storm that lasted 10 minutes. So what I'd like to do is, that's one of my main things, is a tarp, a full field tarp that we could put down whenever we're done playing, and then we don't have to worry as much about rain. We got to worry about the field, obviously the grass portion, but that's a little less. Once Hackton dries out in the spring, it actually handles water pretty well. It's the initial games early in the season, and then if we get that hard kind of rain throughout the season. So that's one of the dugouts we already met with Ben and Justin down there, moving the dugouts out so it's easier for kids to access. We have umps that will actually warn if you have 18 kids on a team, as these state teams will, and a lot of these teams from Eau Claire or wherever they're coming from, they'll have 6 coaches. There's just physically not enough room in the dugout, so they start pouring out onto the field, and we'll have umps that are warning them to get off the field because of safety issues. And so we want to be able to bring that out where their equipment would hang behind them. They'd have more space, and they also would be able to exit and enter the field. So that's kind of packaged into this number, as well as the sound system that Nick referred to. So.
And I think as we're able to raise funds, if we're able to exceed our initial targets here, and then we can work with Ben and Justin on other enhancements. Obviously, we have a storage shed there that's in need of repair. Obviously, the restrooms, the kitchen, all of those areas can always use updating and stuff like that. So we'll definitely need to spread the dollars wherever we can to make the facility as best as possible.
Awesome. Great. Any other questions or comments? None?
I just want to speak on behalf of the department. They've been really good to work with. They were way ahead of this pretty early on, like, hey, this is coming up. And it took, 3-4 months, maybe longer, to kind of figure out where we're going with all this stuff, because they have a lot of good ideas, but it takes time to kind of figure out what does the tarp cost, what are our projections. It's one thing to say I have all these ideas, it's another thing to say I want to go and fundraise for it and we can hit our mark. So they've really done their homework, and I want to thank you guys for being diligent and patient with it. It is not an easy process to work with government, so I do appreciate you guys being patient with kind of getting through these hoops, and hopefully now we can kind of get to hit the ground running.
I have a little bit of experience with
I know you do, but Mike does not.
Me, I'm in the private sector.
Yeah, Mike doesn't quite appreciate the bureaucracy.
Awesome. All right, great. The first and the second, I'll open up any other comments. Others will take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Item number 5, I think you mentioned Donna's not here, but Justin, you want to?
Donna's not here, so I'll speak on behalf of her and kind of summarize the memo that was included in your packet. And correct me, I don't think all of you were here, I know that, because we have a quorum, but most of you heard Donna's speech last time, or did you talk about it? No?
She did. She did.
Okay,
No.
I wasn't there, so.
We skipped over it.
Okay, so Donna's interested in improving the Columbia Bandshell. The bandshell's been there since 1932, very historic, it's on the National Historic Registry. Any improvements will require us to follow some sort of process for that, which is our local National Historical Committee. They'll be involved. They've already been involved. I already got permission from them last week to move forward with the improvements. The improvements themselves are pretty much just cleaning up the wood, some of the paint is peeling, maybe fixing some of the windows, maybe looking at the restrooms and either replacing some of the fixtures in there or painting, as well as anything else that we can just do to spruce it up. She's willing to give $50,000, but she'd also like that to be matched at $50,000 for a total of $100,000. So she's going to go to try to find ways, just like this group, to go out and fundraise another $50,000 for the improvements in Columbia Bandshell. What we're probably going to do is I'll have to work with Donna and say, when do we actually go out and do these improvements? Because I can go and hire an architect, pay them $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, come up with a bunch of design stuff that will fit the historical requirements. But if she only raises X amount of dollars and we paid an architect all this money, what are we really doing here if half our money is going to go towards an architect just to come up with a design? So we have to kind of navigate that and what we're going to do. It's not clear at this point what it's going to look like, but it's clear it's clear that she wants to give $50,000 towards the band shell for improvements. Just like them, we'll see how much money we have, we'll see how far it gets us, but this is all private dollars coming in to make improvements to current park infrastructure. So that's what she's asking for in the memo. That's what I'm trying to explain to you, but feel free to ask me any questions.
Has she ever mentioned anything as far as sponsorship on that? I would assume not. That would maybe take away from the historical nature.
I think you can always ask for sponsorship, just a matter of how you recognize that sponsorship. We as a department don't go out and tell them what to do for their fundraising, nor do we have the Donna or the Greasy Playground or the pickleball people. They all decide how they're going to structure it with a target. Her target's 100,000, so she's going to raise 50,000. So maybe she finds one sponsor. Maybe it's 50,000, $1 sponsor.
So if she wants a sign, can she just put that up at Columbia Park, or does that have to come back to us too? You know, in other words, if one person.
I think a sign would require some approval because there's no sign there right now, and it would fall into like a zoning concern. If she wants, I don't think that's her desire. She never expressed.
A plaque or something. I
Yeah,
think would be
maybe a little
fine.
plaque on the side.
Right, okay.
That's different. There's plaques on there recognizing like the year, but it's a bronze plaque that's on the building, not a. I see a colorful sign sometimes when I think sponsorship.
Right.
That's a good question.
Great. Any other?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Right?
There's Donna right now.
Oh,
Hi, Donna.
Hi, how is everybody?
We were
We're
just talking
just
about-
about to vote on your proposal.
Well, you better let me say a few words.
Did you all
Well, how about this? We
I
have
speeded up my meeting at 5 o'clock so I
we have
could
a
be
motion.
here.
Yeah, should
So
we-
I'll go with a second.
We got a second,
And then
now
you
we'll
can
open
have-
up for,
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good, because I have a 6:30 meeting in Pittsburghville, so this will be perfect.
Donna, I set the table and I kind of gave a little history of
Okay.
stuff, but I wanted to give you an
Okay,
opportunity to
and
talk.
I
so-
probably don't have much more to add to that. Justin did a really good memo about our project. We have met, oh, and I would tell you that, I'm having a mental break, the band leader.
Bob.
Bob Johannick. He would be here tonight, but they're on some train trip, transcontinental train trip or something. So he sends his apologies and wants you all to know that he is fully supportive of this project. And so he's already started doing some PR work with people that are in the band, and there have been people that have been very supportive and have indicated a response that they will participate in the match. And so I don't know what else I can tell you all about. I love history, and I think that's why I want to do this, because I really truly believe that this band shell is part of this community's history. When I sit there at the band concerts, I think if only these walls could talk, you know, if only they could tell us about all the things that have gone on since the construction of that, and it's really worthy to be preserved, and that's really why I want to do this. One thing that I did talk to Justin about is materials, and I know that we might be limited some because of historical preservation requirements, but I'm going to really advocate for some use of materials that'll last a little bit longer than some of the things. And I don't know how open they are to talking about historically correct, the way it looks kind of thing, but things that will last longer. So I'm really going to advocate for a little bit better material usage so that we don't have to put $100,000 in it every 6 years or whatever. So we'll do that. So I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. It's nice to see you, sir.
How's the stage itself holding up there?
Well, it's got some rotten wood in it already.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the persons that played in the civic band came up to me to thank me for my willingness to help with this project, and he said, I noticed while I was sitting there playing the trumpet tonight that there were some rotten boards that need to be replaced. And it's my understanding that those boards were just replaced like 6 or 7 years ago, so it's really disappointing that we're not using materials that have a longer, that last longer. So, I don't know, how open do you think the historical preservation people are going to be?
I presented last week to give them kind of, not approval, but this is what we're doing, so they're in the round. You know, we replaced the round barn windows, which is a historical building, and we replaced them with vinyl windows.
And they allowed that?
And they allowed that,
Okay.
as long as it looked
Right.
historical in reference.
Right,
So-
and then the other thing that I think we need to think about is how to protect that building a little bit better during the winter so that it's not exposed to the winter elements. And maybe that's something that we can talk to, because we have pulled Marwood in, and Marwood is willing to work with us on this. And what did you find out about that architect that worked with this project?
I emailed them and called, they did not.
Okay.
I just get a feeling they're not in existence, but that's because they didn't respond and they didn't look very active like on
Okay.
Facebook. That's kind of, I
Oh,
stalked them a
okay.
little bit, their website looked a
Yeah,
little.
well, we're looking for an architect for something at the campus here, UW Stevens Point at Marshfield. So when I find an architect to help us on that project, maybe we can.
We don't
use
have
that.
one in the city of Marshfield.
I know we don't,
so
I know we
that's-
don't.
Sometimes it's
God
difficult to
rest
find that
Dan
person.
Hellwig's, yeah, it just is very, very bad, yeah, very sad. So can I answer any questions?
I just have a comment.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any questions, but I have a comment. I really love that park, right? And it's beautiful.
It is.
I've heard so many comments. We used to do Vox concert series concerts there from musicians who use that stage about how it sounds like people are talking behind them, and it's people that are 200 feet away that way.
Mhm.
The acoustics are unbelievable. And it's a really unique structure.
It
So
is.
I really appreciate you kind of taking the lead in this and
Yeah.
trying to raise some funds and of course the donation as well.
Well, I think once we get the approval of everybody.
Yeah.
And the Marshfield Community Foundation, I haven't heard from her about the board. You're on that board. Have y'all talked about it at that
We
board
haven't,
yet?
no.
Okay, so as soon as we get everything in place, then, and as soon as my property closes in Virginia and I have the money, then we'll get that all started and just really actively start the fundraising.
Cool.
And go from there. But it is the uniqueness of the property, not just the band shell,
Right.
but just the uniqueness of the property are worth really highlighting, and hopefully we can get some press on all of this, no press about me, but press about the project, that we're going to just really do something good for the community, and that's what we really want to do, so.
Excellent. All right, well, we have a first and a second, so I'll
Oh,
put the
that was
vote.
perfect timing.
Yeah.
Your time was really good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, and thank you very much.
So
Off to your next
Parks and-
meeting.
Yeah, get in touch. And do you mind if I ask Justin a quick question?
Yes.
What is the forester's name in the city?
Mark Rashevitz.
Mark,
Close enough.
Skevich.
Rashevitz.
how's it, what's
You,
it?
I didn't say it.
You're not going to try to spell it for me?
I can't.
What does it start with?
R.
R, okay, I will find it then in the city
If you
directory.
need it, I can get you the
I will
numbers.
get you that, we got a project at UWF Stevens Point. Our Arboretum, if you all have not been to our Arboretum, it's just beautiful. We got just so many unique properties in
I walked it on
Marshfield
Tuesday.
that we really need to highlight. Thank you all for your support. I don't know that I'll see you all again, but you can write a check, okay? Thank you.
All right. Perfect timing. All right. Item number 7, Wreaths Across American Request. Sue?
Hi, I'm Sue Sternberg. I'm president of the Marshfield Veterans Council, which is made up of American Legion, the DAV, and the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars. And this is our 3rd year of doing Wreaths Across America. First year, 2023, we had 500 wreaths to put in the cemetery. Last year, it was 1,500, and we're going for the gusto. As many flags as we put out on Memorial Day, we want to put 2,300 wreaths out for in December. And this is going to be, thank you for helping me say this is an annual event, so I don't have to come back every year. Last year, when I came here, we weren't sure about the flags, but we definitely need flags put in before November. And the flags that we decided, we were thinking of wood last year when I came here, if you guys remember, getting the high school involved, and that was too much. What we decided on, and we definitely needed to do, and I can't remember how that all worked, but we did like those markers for electrical and all that kind of stuff, where not
Bigger
to
stuff.
dig. That's what we put in, but we put them in November. it was pretty hard to dig a hole first and then put it in. So we wanted to put them in October. And the cool way we decided to do that is we put them in November, very cold day, of course. When we put the wreaths out on the 14th, I think it was last year, of December, when they put a wreath down, they took the flag out. So it was pretty, and then in January or February, we have that window as long as the wreaths stayed green because of our weather. I mean, this year is totally below freezing every time we did anything. So it'll be weather dependent, but we have high hopes of 2,300. I think we only have 700 to go to reach that goal. But I think it's a cool thing to have in our community, and we'd like to continue it every year.
So are we asking for a request to allow this to be a recurring event rather than do an annual?
Yeah, originally it was, we want to do this.
I didn't know I had to come back every year, yeah.
Well, we didn't, there was not an annual event request, it was just to
Okay,
do this
gotcha,
a
yeah.
one-time.
Mhm.
And then like, okay, we want to do it again.
Mhm.
This is, I think,
This is the third year. This
Third
will
year,
be
so
the third
I'm like,
year,
okay,
yeah.
now it seems like it's more of an annual event, rather than
Yes.
having you come back every
Correct.
time. Rather just clear out the groundwork right now. And in the packet was included those flags she was
Yep.
referencing that.
Would it make sense to, you know, I understand, just let's get the approval, but should there be some type of trigger that, what if in 6 years from now there's an issue? What would be the mechanism that, you know, if we say we authorize this recurring event, is there any mechanism?
And it's as long as the people, and we're totally, Rail was the spearhead of it for the first 2 years, and now the Veterans Council is lead of it. So as long as I live, I want to keep doing it. So I can't give you a date.
Make a suggestion.
Yep, go ahead.
I think maybe in the past with this kind of thing, we would say, if we have problems, we'll bring it back here. Right?
Perfect.
I mean, yeah. And I think staff is good about recognizing problems and bringing them forward, so we could address it at that time if we have issues.
Would you want to make,
Yeah.
do you want to make a motion to that?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve to allow this to be a year after year an annual event with the understanding that if there's a problem, the staff, we would revisit it. Does that work?
Yeah, we just want to make sure those flags, the
Yeah.
picture showed there was a lot of flags left behind and got sucked up in stone blowers as well as everything else, so.
Okay, we didn't hear that comment, so we thought we had them all out. So-
No, if you,
I mean, 'cause-
I don't have the packet in front of you, and I thought you did, but it kind of gives you, there's a picture of the flags that one of the guys are holding up, and it shows, like, this is what they picked up, not after the
Okay.
event, like, because it's snowy, and it's
Mhm.
frozen, all the way till.
And we thought somebody
ceremony.
came and picked them up, so we will make sure that that is, you know, we'll do a walkthrough before ball mowing starts. And I thought we had.
Well, the problem we also have is that we snow blow.
Oh,
To get,
snow blow.
we got to snow blow to the gravesite to dig it, so we
Okay,
can
snow
get
blow.
equipment there and then get the people there.
Okay,
So sometimes this, it could
so
be.
it's during the
maybe
snow
one-
removal, okay.
Yeah, so snow removal and.
I guess we didn't
lawnmowers.
realize snow removal.
Yeah, we actually snow blow the cemetery grass.
Okay, okay.
So, as
Okay.
weird as it sounds, we gotta get
Okay,
equipment
well,
there and you
okay.
gotta pave the way to get to that.
Mhm.
And then getting these sucked up in a snow blower can cause a little bit of damage.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'll make the second to John's motion.
Okay, great. Any further discussion?
Amy, you're all good? Everything?
Can I just?
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
Okay. The other, one thing that we were going to mention, some of the veteran markers are flushed, you
Yes.
know, so they're in the middle of the lane. And some of those flags were put there instead of at the headstone.
There are some that are just there. And then
Yeah.
there are some, it is crazy, there are some where it's on the back of it, it could be a flag here, it could be one here and one here, and sometimes this is a different veteran than this is a veteran. If it's snow covered like we had last time, we had a hard time. And we have volunteers putting these in, so we're
Yeah.
doing it was so cold that, you know, they put them, sometimes that's the only marker they see. And so
Yeah.
they dug them in, so.
And if it can be communicated to just keep them at the upright headstone in line with the others, just because like Justin discussed, sometimes they have to snow blow a path to get to a grave,
Okay,
and those will,
okay, all right.
if they don't see them and there's more
So,
snow
yeah.
than we've had the past couple of years.
Somebody might complain that they didn't get a wreath, but we'll deal with that one. But it is such a variance, there's no real symmetry there, if that's the right word for it. It's
Mhm.
like, it's either one way, the other way, the back, the front, the pole, You know, so it's
Right.
not uniform.
No.
For a military firm, it's not uniform
Mhm.
at all in it. So upright, okay, I can do that.
Okay.
Upright graves.
And I guess we still would prefer a lath, something
A what?
wood, wooden stakes or something. Just the flags that were picked up, there were quite a few without even the metal on them, so they're probably stuck in somewhere in the ground yet, but it just has a potential of mower tires running those over.
You're saying that the
or-
red flag kind of flew off, so you just have a standing wire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, or, you know,
Metal
someone
wire
walking
causes a
over
problem.
one,
Wood
or
will
getting them stuck in
essentially
their
just
foot
get
or
beaten up by the
something.
snow.
Yeah, and our biggest thing, we have to figure out, and it's like, I don't know if we should wait to, maybe with your help, because you guys do that, if we should wait till it's a little warmer to remove those flags. Because the biggest thing is a wood one would take 10 times longer, you know, and still probably have issues. That if we thought it was best, you know, again, this was our first year putting the flags in, but we knew we needed it, to take the flags out right away. And I can tell, if they were stuck in there, I can see how people grabbed it up and then the wire was left behind. That makes sense. But maybe we need to take the marker flags out.
Yeah, I know a lot
You know,
were
in
blown throughout the
March.
cemetery too. It's so
What's that?
windy. A lot of them were kind of, we
Because you know why? Because we couldn't get them in.
Yeah.
And
it's
we
so
did it in
windy up
November,
there.
and we're like,
Yeah.
we can't do this without, it's just too many
Mhm.
to have people trying to find them
Yeah.
on the 14th when we put them out to do both.
Yeah.
So it's like a marker was much more.
I know Hillers does that flag.
What's that?
Hillers does the wooden flag in your yard for the 4th of July. Or
And
not
that
Hillers,
sometimes is like, yeah.
the Boys and Girls,
Mhm.
Boy Scouts, I think, do that. So
And
get
we do that for Memorial Day, we put the
Yeah.
flags in, and
But they're- I
sometimes
think
they
they're
bring.
wooden, but it's a
Yeah,
wooden
yeah,
piece,
right.
correct?
But see, that's American
Doesn't it-
flag, it's the whole flag, the American
Right.
flag.
So maybe
And to
there's-
put that in October too, might be just as hard.
Well,
you
we're just
know.
trying to find ways to prevent
Correct,
damage to the equipment.
Right,
That's
mhm.
the biggest thing.
because then too, depending on the weather, pulling those out could be the same way. They grab everything, the ground's gonna be frozen around that wood stake just as well as it would be the metal stake. So the other thing I can think of that would help that is if we take them out like in March, take all of the marker flags out in March. That way, you know, depending on our weather, wasn't it worse in March this year than?
It's not better. It doesn't get
What's
better.
that?
It doesn't get better.
Oh, yeah, so just to problem solve that, and we can do that as a Legion as long as you guys are, well, like I said, the wood stake would be, you know, the only thing we can think of as a wood stake would be the flags that we put out Memorial Day, but that's also, again, getting the volunteers, like I said, but, and you guys didn't have any problems with wreaths left behind?
Yeah, I think we can work offline on that.
I think there are maybe 10 that,
Really?
yeah.
Because some people bring their own wreaths.
Okay, they
You know,
have the
after
Wreaths
we
Across
leave.
America. We took some
Oh, really?
pictures
Okay,
just if
gotcha.
you wanted to
Oh,
see
that's
them or
cool.
whatever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but no, they're, I mean.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard about it, so if you don't have a contact, make sure you have my information.
Okay,
If there's
I
any
think
issues.
Dan talked to Tim Norland.
Yeah, and see, now he's out of it, so
Yeah.
I'm, mhm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
geez.
So first, as an Air Force veteran, thank you for what you do for that program. It's just another nice way to recognize our veterans. I appreciate.
It'd be nice if it was
time.
Arlington, because look at, what you
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not so easy here.
So a comment about that, though. My question, Justin, if you know, do we have any GPS programs or mapping of the cemetery
Yes,
in
there's a
place
whole,
already?
there's
If
map,
there
but it's
is?
so hard to read when it's freezing cold. You know, and we got, well, it's not just, you know, and Legion people are getting older and older, you know, so we have volunteers doing this stuff, and it was so cold in November that they saw a marker and tried to put it in. We were there 3 hours.
Some of the-
I was just thinking that you're identifying a grave site, right?
Yeah, we got all that,
Map on
that's nothing.
Some of the things like are they're military grave sites that they don't have flags to identify because it's all military. Well, they're putting these wreaths on military people throughout the cemetery, so it's not just they have to identify that gravestone different than everyone else's. So that's why it's different. Some like we have what's the grave, a military Flanders Field.
Yeah.
Flanders Field and
Which,
Veterans Field.
that's all veterans, you don't have to identify, you just go and put all those wreaths there. But then when you go out to the other side, it's more difficult
All
for them.
over.
They're all over, and there's no rhyme or reason on how veterans are recognized, nor rhyme or reason on how the families want to be recognized. And so that's why there's always these challenges that come with it. So you can recognize your family and how they served, however you want with your grave marker. There's not always a rhyme or reason to it. That's part of the challenge.
Yeah, that's my point. So if you had GPS marked and a map that's digital, you could see where they're marked on the map ahead of time. But you're saying that there's difficulty in reading the map?
Yeah,
Is
because
that what the-
anybody that goes out Memorial Day to put the American flags out, you've seen those out there on the street. They have to read the map in order to find them, and some are missed, some are there, then we take them out after
Of course,
that.
these are,
So-
if they're volunteers, they're probably not like trained surveyors.
Correct.
Sure.
Correct.
How many grave sites have
Yeah.
2,300 veterans.
we? No, total.
Okay.
$18,000?
It's 18,000, up to 2,300, you gotta find out 18,000.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they were all in one place,
Nope.
but they're all over.
Well, okay, any other comments, I guess? We just want to make sure that everything's coordinated with the city.
Correct.
Whatever marking works, you guys tweak as we go along, work together. With that, we've got first and second, any other conversation? Not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, any opposed?
Amy, would you like my
Thank you.
information, so,
Yeah, I think I have your email, but
Mhm.
yeah.
did you want my phone number, so we can talk offline?
Sure, sure, yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll keep it moving. We'll move on to item number 8. John, I believe this one.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Ben. I appreciate you guys putting this on the agenda this week. I asked last month for this to be added to this month's agenda. Really, this topic isn't about attendance at a meeting, because I think all of us have lives and things come up, and we tell Ben and Justin and Amy that we can't make it to the meeting. So I think that's what this agenda item is. Really, truly, we need to make sure that these guys know that you're not coming to a meeting, even if it's 2 hours before. That way, the rest of us don't have to come if we don't have quorum, and then we don't have community members showing up that, are expecting to present that we have to send home.
Do you know what happened at the last meeting?
Yeah, that's what happened, right? Essentially, we had community members here to present, the two that presented here. We had those of us on the committee that showed up, and then, and again, we knew that several people weren't going to be here, but according to our numbers, we had quorum, and then there were 2 that weren't. So nothing personal, we just need to make sure that these guys get notified. And I would say vice chair, chair, director, and then Amy, so that just in case somebody misses the email.
And I was gone that week too.
Yeah,
so it was-
yep, exactly, yeah, so.
So being Ben and I were both
Yep.
gone, so it meant,
Yeah.
to include all those would make sense.
Yeah, but that would be really appreciated. This will be the shortest agenda item in history. Thanks. Yep.
All right, number 9, Department 2026 Department Budget Prep. Justin?
Yeah, you guys, I think I handed this out in June. Hopefully you had a chance to kind of look at our budget. We talked about priorities, what we want to do for policy moving forward, whether we want to cut any services, any other areas that we want to trim back or add to. And I think overall, I heard from the group that they want to increase revenues, but yet hold on to services and hold a line on cutting anything that of value. Right now, we have, I would say, everything we do is of value. There's really nothing of fluff. And right now, any cuts will incur will be of substance of some sort. And that could be as simple as, I'll say, cutting a rec program. We'll just say we're going to cut soccer. Well, you also cut the revenue. And there might be cost. It might be making money, but that's an expense. And maybe it's cutting a shelter here or there, but there's rentals. Almost all of our stuff has some sort of revenue generator involved. So we really try to cut back on things that may not be generating revenue. So this is kind of where we're at. But overall, I've heard increased revenue, so we're going to increase revenues by 5%. That's already included in this year's budget. You have a spreadsheet that kind of gives you an idea of all of the budgets, totals, plus some of the changes, and then some actuals that have some relevance to it. But it's a lot of information to digest, and if you're not familiar with the information or how budgets are kind of done from a governmental perspective, this could be quite a lot. But it shows you that our budgets are about $3 million. 3.3 is going to be our request for next year. It's up about 4.3%. And it kind of gives you an idea of the different areas that are up the most, from aging senior center, cemetery, Oak Ave, et cetera, et cetera. And on the back side of that, or the other side, shows you kind of breakdown of the different categories. We kind of break down our budgets into kind of 5 or 6 categories. Number one is wage and benefits, and that's 1.99 million, or almost $2 million. It's just paying employees. That's not only our wages, it's all the full-time staff wages, all the part-time staff wages, and all the seasonal kids' wages and benefits. So that's not only their pay, but the Social Security, FICA, you name it, all that stuff, plus health insurance, dental insurance, vision. Not all the kids get it, but everyone. That's all included in that pot. Next is utilities, $231,000. That's the lights for this building, sewer, for all of our buildings, parks, facilities. That's how much it costs just to have the utilities costs associated with our park system. Next is supplies, maintenance, repairs. That could be things that are broken, things that mop heads. It could be toilet paper, soap. It could be concrete. It could be topsoil. It's all the things that are to maintain concession items, you name it. Any item that's used to operate the parks and our facilities. That's about $757,000. Next is just training. How much training, education, and travel. That means if people are traveling back and forth for work, for something, they went to Appleton to get something, we reimburse that person. It could be for workshops, seminars, and it could be for online activities or certifications, or whether we bring in the fire department to do CPR and they got to issue a certification, but it costs $5 per kid to issue that certification.
Lifeguard certification.
Amanda does lifeguard certifications. She has to pay American Red Cross for these certifications. So that's a complex. Gives you everything in that pot for training, education, and travel is about $11,000, $12,000.
Food service, I'm just thinking of other ones that I have, food service, lifeguard, instructor certifications.
There's
CDL
just a lot.
certifications.
There's CDL, bloodborne pathogen, you name it. There's just a lot of a lot of training. Motor pool that's what it's cost for running our equipment, our trucks, things of that nature. That's cost about $301,000. So overall, our budget's about $3.3 million, and you can see the significant increase for next year is just paying employees, wages and benefits. You can see everything else is very minimal, except for maybe motor pool, which is going up quite a bit, and that's directly related to the cemetery. So cemetery, we're adding a Kubota and 2 mowers to it. It's being added to the fleet, and that's the significant increase there. So I wanted to give this to you. Next month, we're going to do a park tour to kind of get out and about, give you an opportunity to kind of look at things, maybe ask some questions. Maybe this information will be more relevant then. But I want to give it to you now, kind of tell you where we're going. We're going to be increasing revenues for next year, trying to hold the line on costs. So we're not adding, I think we're adding a couple new recreation programs, that's senior trips, but those costs are covered, meaning if it costs $100 a person for the trip to happen, they'll cover that cost. It's a break-even program. We're not losing money to operate it. It's the number one requested thing from our senior group is to have senior trips. They want to do senior activities. I don't know if they really want to pay for them because it's expensive. Busing is expensive, transportation is expensive, and sometimes going to these shows or events are expensive. But they want to do it, we're going to offer it, and we're just going to cover our costs and see how it goes. But this gives you an idea of what our budgets look like. Feel free to ask any questions.
So, revenue increasing opportunities, what kind of things are we looking at there? Is it just fees, like fees for community?
Fees and
center?
charges.
Okay, so
Generally increasing 5%, 10%?
5%, pretty much across the board.
okay, yeah, because other than that, I'm not sure where, unless, we get more aggressive with asking for donations at the zoo and stuff like that, where that money would come from.
There currently is the Zoological Society does request donations at the zoo, but they keep that. It's not reflected in our budget. We don't keep that money. We don't take it in.
Does
They
that
keep it.
money go towards their bottom line, I guess, for the zoo?
That goes towards the zoo itself.
Right.
Any money they fundraise for or collect goes back into the zoo in some form or fashion.
Okay, so what
Maybe that's for maybe it's for animal acquisition, maybe it's for exhibit expansion, maybe it's for an event or an activity. They pay for the Wild Wednesday events.
Okay.
So they pay $3,500, I think, for the Wild Wednesday event. So it all goes back into the zoo in some form or fashion.
But that money, we don't ever see any of it, it doesn't affect our.
It doesn't get into the city's accounting firm, finance department.
So a couple of questions about, I'm seeing the reduction in the senior center, and are we moving, like, is that being funded somewhere else now?
Yeah, it's just gonna be absorbed in recreation.
Okay, so that makes my second question of revenue, where there's a jump in recreation revenue by 20, almost 25%, that's where that's coming from?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, okay.
We,
That makes sense.
We didn't fill the senior coordinator position, it was
Mhm.
absorbed by staff. So that cost for that staffing was reduced or cut.
Gotcha.
But yet we want to increase those recreation programs for senior trips. We budget about $15,000. That's about how much it costs to run a couple trips a year.
Makes sense.
And then I did request an extra week for the pool because both the public and the private school are starting a week early. They're both getting out at the end of May because the public school wants to start renovations early on their field house. So instead of starting a whole week later, I requested an extra 7 days for the pool next year. So I did the math on that and put in
On the front.
whatever this, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if it'll be exactly 7 days, but whatever,
Yeah.
so I can start training the staff immediately instead of waiting and only having 73 days. I requested 80 days or whatever it was.
Cool.
Instead, I did the math for 1 year. Since
Okay.
both schools will be out at the same time earlier than normal. So that's actually why that's a little higher.
That makes sense to me.
Good. Brett?
Justin, I know we talked probably a couple months ago about replacing equipment at one of the parks.
Mhm.
I'm just curious, are there any parks that are, and this is kind of a question people may not know, are there any parks that are underused and that may be coming up due for new equipment?
Yeah, we don't have readily available data
Yeah.
on whether Northern Hills Park has 5 kids a day or 50 kids a day or Benedict or vice versa. We actually really have no data at all of the number of users playing pickleball. We have testimonials, we have people saying it's busy, but we don't have like
Sure.
a carousel that's counting people as they come and go.
Sure.
So that is a challenge. But if you were to survey those neighborhoods or those people that do visit, they'd say it's of value to keep those small playgrounds there. But yeah, we don't have an ability to collect data.
Sure.
Now, I know I could probably go out and talk to software companies and they're gonna sell me some stuff that says you can collect software data based on geographical location that you may have to allow. That's gonna give you a general idea. But I'm gonna spend close to $20,000 on that and not fix a $20,000 playground, like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would you spend money just to, I don't know what the number is. So what is that number that's acceptable for that playground? Is it 10? Is it 100? Is it 10,000? Like what, I don't know,
Sure.
I have no idea. That's the details are, the devil's in the details. So we don't have data like that, but I also would say if there's recommendations, maybe not to replace a playground, to just not replace it, but to take one out, it would be silly, like just remove it.
So in that case, back to Brian's question here, wouldn't that be in the capital budget and not be included in this?
Yeah, this is just operation, so it would be
Yeah,
capital.
okay. But like the maintenance would, right?
Right.
The maintenance of it would hit it. So, you know, if there were a slide that broke or something, that piece of it. But if we're talking about replacing a whole playground, I mean, that's CIP. right?
That is CIP,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, cool.
And the maintenance at some of these are just grass cutting.
Grass cutting, yeah, and if you're talking playgrounds, wood chips, obviously,
Yeah.
like if things break.
But it's not like tens and,
Like a new swing or something.
like if we cut one playground, let's just say Northern Hills, out of our operation, you're gonna save $350, $500
Mm-hmm.
out of 3.3 million.
Yeah.
That gives you an idea, like, okay,
Sure.
how many Northern Hills do I have that I need to cut, and what's the impact on that neighborhood
Yeah.
compared to the savings? I think mowing is probably maybe $300 for Northern Hills. If you've ever been there, it's really small, by the way, just by piece mowing.
Yeah, like if we go back even in reference to the core plan, you know, the comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, I mean, I'm sure there's reference to like where, you know, money's going to be spent in the future, at least recommended to be spent in the future by a park, right?
Yeah.
So if we could look at that and say, maybe this one doesn't make sense. But again, that's capital.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'll hand out the capital improvement plan at our next meeting when we go on our park tour. kind of give you an idea of what we're
Yeah.
looking at too. That's related to the court as well as everything else.
Yeah, you guys, who are new to the committee, that like next week or next month is a really good meeting to be at, if you can at all, because it's a cool way to learn about what is really needed at the parks.
And just piggyback on that, is there anything you guys want to see? Because I want to start developing a tour, an agenda, where we're going to go. Obviously, we're going to go to Brame and probably going to go to Greasy's because it's a new playground that's coming up. It's usually going to talk about recent projects that were done, like Strolin, and then talk about new projects that might be in the horizon. Is there any requests from anyone?
Yeah, you're gonna have like 5 or 6 of them.
Maybe Columbia, then, since we're talking
Yeah.
about the band shell?
Okay. Good idea.
And Bram is always something that's going to be worked on, and we should, have a good idea what's.
Well,
going
Brame
on.
will be good because we'll have pickleball kind
Yeah.
of there,
Yep. Yeah.
and then we'll have the softball construction
Yep.
going on. So
Yep.
wear your steel toe boots, hard hats, safety vests,
Yeah.
eye protection, ear protection. We'll go.
We're not going in the woods this time. We'll talk about that later.
That's all I have on the
Great,
budget.
excellent. Any other questions on the budget process? If not,
I do think this is really helpful, for us to understand. This is good.
Yeah, the city's looking at $1 million deficit right now.
Yeah.
And I think the taxes, what did George say, $23,000 is expenses. 11,000, or 23 million, 11 million comes from property taxes. The rest is filled in through shared aid, fees and charges. So we don't even, the tax support's not even half the budget. No, the challenges.
Yes, very real. Okay, thanks. Moving on to item number 10, reports, recreation.
And I have a hard out at 6:30 for my dad's birthday, so I might just.
Happy
dip out.
birthday.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be super speedy.
Challenge has been thrown down, Amanda.
Okay. Senior Center is just as normal programming for them. Justin mentioned the trips, so I added that into the budget as a request. We'll see if it gets approved or not. Summer programming is wrapping up this week, actually. Like I said before, both the public and private schools start August 26th. So next week we don't have any programming besides the pool. We ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 different types of programs this summer. Most of them were us or we contracted them, and 3 different sets of each thing. So between instructors and contracted services, we had a lot going on. I'll try to get a full report of that, but it's going to take me a while to organize all that, but I'll have something for you hopefully by December. And then Vandahay Waters, 60 staff, between about 40 lifeguards, 20 attendants, 1 manager, 2 head guards. We do lots of programming there, from Aqua Zumba, adaptive swim every Wednesday this summer, and then open lap swim every single day. I actually got a thank you card in the mail from the lap swimmers. They were happy that we accommodated them every single day this summer instead of just 5 or 6 days a week and kicking them out on Wednesdays for adaptive swim. So I think we did a really good thing this summer, accommodating all of that. And then the Community Foundation, United Way, I just wanted to touch on that. A lot of collaboration on getting those kids on the NOW program during school, free access to the pool, and not just access. Again, we coordinated food vouchers for them too. So up till I made this report yesterday, 287 day passes and 201 meal vouchers were utilized this summer so far, so there's a whole nother week left. Now 1,500 of each were handed out, so not all of them were utilized, but still that's 300 kids went and 200 meal vouchers were redeemed. To me, that's a lot of good that they got from donors through the Community Foundation. So it's free for them. We'll get reimbursed through donors for the Community Foundation, and I think that was awesome. That's all I got.
It's really cool.
Lap swimmers, how many would you say?
A handful,
Okay.
maybe 10.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I only asked because that was kind of a big factor when we were designing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. All right, Justin, I'm assuming you're going to cover?
I'll do Nikki's because she's busy doing a special event. Hub City Concert Series wrapped up. They averaged about 300 attendees. Stephen Page was our most popular, 1,500 attendees if you had a chance to get down there. Only 1 show moved indoors and 1 had slight rain. Nikki was involved in the Hub City Days. She estimated 3,500 people attended. Awenza Plaza throughout the day on Saturday. She ran the movies in Park, I think that was on Friday or Thursday, I don't remember.
Friday.
Friday, movie in the park was. Wild Wednesdays concluded last week. Estimated attendees will be at the next meeting, so we'll know how many came to that. And she's busy preparing for Maple Fall Fest, which is September 12th to the 14th.
All right, great. Ben, you are up next.
Grass is still green, it's good. It's been a wet year. Typically, we start going every other week for mowing parks, and we will, again, we've started. So if you start hearing complaints about lawn grass, it's really because of budgetary reasons. We can only mow so much, but the grass is still growing. Guys just got done with a large project on GPO's Little League Field. We're going to make that a 13U field, so it'll accommodate that older grade. They like to use 70-foot bases, a little bit longer of a mound. So we did that in-house with staff. It turned out really well. Forestry, Mark is done with his ash tree treatments. He treated 28 trees this year in the parks. We reduced that number significantly from last year for budget reasons, but we still are trying to keep a few marquee trees in the community. Down at the zoo, if you haven't been down there yet, we did open a new exhibit, the northern bobwhite quail. So where the rabbits used to be, we made that into a quail exhibit. Coming soon, we'll be announcing the addition of a lynx kitten as well. But we are working on getting them familiarized with their space and with each other, with the bobcat. So that's pretty exciting. I think that's the highlights, unless anybody's got any questions.
Awesome. Any questions for Ben? Oh, no. All right, Amy.
Okay. We had 13 burials in July. Usual meeting with families, fielding phone calls, emails, scheduling burials, selling spaces. Black dirt is seeded 2,000 feet along roadways that recently received new asphalt. Marking out headstones for Marshfield Monument and mowing and weeding.
Awesome. Okay. No. Oh, okay. Good. All right. I guess then, Justin, it's up to you.
I did not know it was a Bob White quail. I didn't know it was a real Bob White. I just know it's quite a name.
Bob White.
Do you want a Justin Casperson quail? Brave softball started this week. So if you get a chance, the fence is removed. They'll start probably digging up some dirt and getting it out of there. We still have the water leak in the basement. It's going to be probably expensive because we've exhausted every single option to see why or how it's leaking, and it's not from the water coming into the building, meaning the water that supplies the faucets and the toilets and the urinals. It's some other location inside the concrete, inside the floor, inside the basement. So that means we gotta somehow dig up concrete and find the water source. So it's not a fun project at all. The MAC stairs, which just stands for Marshfield Athletic Complex, the fairgrounds was completed, it's all done. Stroman Park was wrapped up in June as well. If you have any chance, stop by or wait until our tour. You can also wait till our tour. Greasy Playground event took place last night. If you get a chance to get there, it was kind of fun. I was there. Fairgrounds Expo building should be removed from this list. Oh no, we just received bids today for siding and downspouts for the Fairgrounds Expo building. That's through the Fairgrounds Commission, not necessarily through the city. And Pickleball wants a drinking fountain up by their playing area. The closest water's in that building, got to run a water line.
At Bram?
At Bram. Cost for probably a fountain is anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000. Put something in, it's probably close to $10,000 just to run water up there. So it's gonna be an expensive project. We'll try to get it done this year, but well, if they got money and if there's a lead time on buying the fountain, and then they're trying to find a contractor who has that kind of schedule. So there's all those things that are involved with it. That's all I got.
Awesome. Any questions for Justin?
Yeah, is that drinking fountain, that's going to be funded through their fundraising effort?
Yeah, they're making the request, so there'll be, maybe they'll come back and ask for that to be part of the project.
Got it.
Awesome. Great. Any other questions for Justin? No? Okay. Okay, great. Let me see, next meeting, is there anything we need to know about the tour?
5:30 meet here.
Okay, be here, and what about vehicle, I'll come back to the other items. But, do we all take our own vehicles, or are we just gonna carpool in yours, or how does this work?
I got a truck.
On a scooter.
I got a truck, we can roll the town.
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back,
Just take the bike.
Sits in the back. No
Yeah,
shuttle.
the bike's actually
What?
not
No
bad.
shuttle?
Yeah.
We'll have a shuttle.
Oh.
We got a shuttle.
Okay, awesome, shuttle, and toddies will be provided, all right, and then, are there any other items for the future agendas?
I don't have an item, but I just, a comment for this section, is that okay? The Hub City Concert Series, I mean, big kudos to Nikki for that. I went to, I think, all of them. I might have missed one, but that's growing. That 300 average is really growing. That last concert, Stephen Page, who was a founding member of Bare Naked Ladies from the 90s, was an amazing show to have in Marshfield.
Did you see he had been like, it was in Alberta, you know, and
Yeah.
all these big cities, and
Yeah.
Marshall, Wisconsin. I was
That's
like,
great,
no way.
yeah. So, I mean, big kudos to her, and I think the weather plays into that too, a little bit.
Oh, huge.
Wausau, for instance, I think maybe they had 1 or 2 outside.
Well, I think
It rained every Wednesday.
The food trucks help big time.
Yep.
You know, all of our friends, they appreciate that there's a couple options out there, so I think it's great.
Yeah, so really good for our community, and I really like seeing that grow.
Whatever it's worth, Nikki's entertainment is based on her budget, which is based on sponsorship.
Yep.
So those bigger entertainers that cost more money require more sponsorship. So she goes to go out and find these dollars in the community for sponsors. And then whatever she has, she fills it with the entertainers. So it gives you an idea, like if you want to get a bigger, more known entertainer, it costs more money, you need more sponsorship. She'll do as best she can with whatever dollar amount she has.
Go, awesome. Great, any other items for future agendas? If not, we'll see you guys here next month. All right, good.